Welcome, friends, to our Thanksgiving Creepy Story Special. We hope you've had a great Thanksgiving and we hope you enjoy these stories, all original, that we have in store for you tonight. Story 1, Thanksgiving Night Shadows. In the gentle, muted glow of the kitchen, Angela lovingly stirred the pot of simmering gravy. The fragrant essence of Thanksgiving dinner gently embracing the air and enveloping the room in an inviting cocoon. The radiant warmth emanating from the oven and the rhythmic, comforting clatter of utensils against pots orchestrated a melody of culinary anticipation, casting a reassuring spell upon the familiar space. Yet, beneath this soothing ambience, a subtle contrast unfolded. The unsettling feeling that had settled over Angela, like a whisper of disquiet in the tranquility of the room. She found herself compelled to steal glimpses out of the window, captivated by an unsettling silhouette among the eerie skeletal trees. Their twisted branches reached skyward like skeletal fingers, casting elongated shadows on the frost-kissed ground below. A mysterious figure, clad in a tattered cloak that seemed to meld with the night, lingered in the moonlit stillness, its form a haunting enigma. Angela's breath caught in her throat as she strained to discern elusive details, an unsettling presence casting ominous shadows over a festive scene. In a panic, Angela frantically fumbled for her phone to call the cops. Yet the landline remained eerily silent, devoid of even a reassuring dial tone, intensifying the chilling stillness that gripped the room. Her hands shook as she reached for her cell phone, only to discover its lifeless screen. "But I just charged it," she muttered, the realization sinking in as a profound and paralyzing sense of dread enveloped her. Panic clawed at her chest, tightening its grip with each futile attempt to summon help. The air in the kitchen seemed to thicken with an otherworldly presence, a silent spectre looming over her, amplifying the eerie atmosphere of helplessness. With her family partaking on their yearly tradition of a pre-dinner walk, leaving her alone in the house, Angela felt a chill run down her spine, turning the usual serenity of the moonlit night into an ominous presence. Determined to seek help, she turned her attention to her neighbour, a reassuring figure just beyond her backyard. She ran out of the house to try to get to safety. As she hurried across the yard, the crunch of leaves underfoot echoed eerily, each step resonating, sounding like there was another following it. Shadows danced in the moonlight, playing macabre tricks on her senses, elongating and contorting as if the night itself conspired against her. The once familiar path seemed to twist and coil, amplifying the unease that clung to the air, turning a simple journey into a harrowing odyssey through the shadows. Angela's pace quickened, her heart pounding in her ears as she sensed a presence behind her. She dared not look back, fearing the unknown that lurked in the darkness. Breathless, she reached her neighbour's door, pounding on it desperately. He answered, concern etched on his face. The reassurance of a familiar face was a momentary reprieve, but as Angela spoke, a shiver ran down her spine. The dark figure lingered at the edge of her neighbour's yard, watching, waiting. Terrified, she stammered out her plea for help. Together, they dialed the authorities. As they waited, the minutes ticked by like a slow, ominous heartbeat. When the officers arrived, the figure had vanished, leaving only an unsettling emptiness in its wake. Angela's family returned, oblivious to the night's chilling events. As the police investigated, they found no trace of the mysterious watcher. Angela was left with lingering unease, forever haunted by the shadows that had stalked her Thanksgiving night. The following years, the memory lingered, casting a cloud over the holiday season, a reminder that some shadows never truly fade. The windows became a source of trepidation, and the kitchen, once a place of warmth, now held an unspoken chill, a lingering echo of a sinister presence. Each creak of the floorboards carried a ghostly whisper, and the air itself seemed to hold the residue of a spectral encounter, a lasting mark on the fabric of Angela's reality. Story 2. Creepy Thanksgiving Stalker. In the aftermath of a grueling Thanksgiving shift as a waitress, Sam found herself alone, locking up the restaurant's doors. The day's chaos still echoed in her ears, a mixture of clinking cutlery and laughter that had long faded into the night. The streets outside bore witness to her weariness. Neon signs flickered off, and the once lively sidewalks lay deserted. The keys jingled in her hand as she stepped into the cool night, her car out of commission and the buses immobilised in holiday slumber. She resigned herself to a brisk walk home, a mere 15 minutes under normal circumstances. The journey began as a solitary trek through a neighbourhood caught between the cosy glow of houses enjoying the festivities and the quiet void of deserted streets. Sam's footsteps seemed to be the only disturbance in the calm, accompanied by the rhythmic hum of her fatigue, the occasional warming scent of roasted turkey wafted through the air, a stark contrast to the freezing cold air that bit at her nose. As she walked, the residential streets revealed themselves in fragments, pockets of warmth emanating from windows adorned with festive lights, juxtaposed against the desolate stretches of road beneath a pale moon. It was as if the houses held tightly to the merriment within, guarding it against the cold embrace of the outside world. Her journey took on an eerie quality as the shadows cast by streetlights elongated, dancing in tandem with her weary steps. The air itself seemed to be holding its breath, caught between the end of one celebration and the impending hush of the night. It was then that she heard it. The distant echo of footsteps that sent a shiver down her spine. She quickened her pace, hoping to dismiss it as a trick of her fatigued mind. Yet, the rhythmic cadence persisted, growing louder with each step. A figure emerged from the shadows, adorned in all black attire and concealed beneath the brim of a baseball cap. The stranger mirrored her movements with an unsettling precision. Dread gripped her as she changed direction, attempting to shake off the shadow that clung to her every move. The deserted streets, once a canvas for festive lights, now amplified the chilling isolation of her predicament. Sam, driven by a primal fear, broke into a sprint. Her heart pounded in her chest, the rhythmic pounding of her pursuer's footsteps in relentless pursuit. Desperation fueled her actions as she darted into dimly lit gardens and began knocking on doors in a frenzied plea for sanctuary. Yet the revelry within drowned out her cries for help. The festivities seemed to shield the residents from the darkness that loomed just beyond their doorstep. The man in pursuit remained undeterred, a relentless predator in the night. In a final burst of adrenaline, she approached a door with a flickering porch light. This time, her frantic knocks elicited a response. The door creaked open, revealing a haven from the encroaching threat. But as she turned to witness the salvation she had found, the mysterious pursuer had evaporated into the shadows. Shaken, she waited on the inside until the reassuring arrival of the police. The blue and red lights cut through the silent night, casting an unsettling glow on the empty streets. The officers escorted her home, a silent procession through the once desolate neighbourhood, now patrolled by a different kind of darkness. The chilling encounter etched a lesson into her consciousness, a stark realisation that safety had no price tag. She wouldn't be walking the empty streets alone again. The high cost of an Uber now seemed a low price to pay. As the Thanksgiving night faded into memory, Sam would forever carry the harrowing tale of desolate streets, warm glows, and the shadow that lurked in the holiday's aftermath. Story 3. Diary of a Black Friday Survivor. As the clock struck midnight on Thanksgiving, I found myself in the familiar embrace of a worn retail uniform, bracing for the onslaught of Black Friday. The automatic doors screeched open, ushering in a horde of relentless shoppers, their eyes aglow with the promise of discounts. My fellow employees and I exchanged weary glances, resigned to the impending chaos. The aisles morphed into narrow passages of pandemonium, with shoppers moving like relentless zombies, driven by an insatiable hunger for bargains. Price tags fluttered like possessed spirits, and the air was thick with the palpable desperation of consumerism. I moved mechanically, navigating through the swarm of deal seekers, the weight of the night settling like a heavy shroud. The checkout lines became a procession of the overwhelmed, carts laden with goods as if in preparation for retail purgatory. The cash registers rang like funeral bells, marking the economic toll of this frenzied shopping ritual. My pleas for order were lost in the din of the guttural groans, an unsettling soundtrack to the night. As the hours wore on, the once organised shelves became a barren landscape, picked clean by the unrelenting tide of consumerism. Flickering fluorescent lights cast an eerie pallor over the store, transforming it into a haunting retail wasteland. Each scanned item felt like a piece of my own humanity sacrificed to the voracious appetite of holiday shopping. With the approach of dawn, the Black Friday shoppers began their retreat, leaving behind a retail aftermath. I, an exhausted survivor of the night's ordeal, stood amidst the remnants, haunted by the ghostly echoes of discount-driven madness. The silence that followed was heavy with the emptiness of depleted shelves and the residue of the consumer frenzy that had unfolded. As daylight broke, I surveyed the desolation, an eerily quiet store with vacant shelves and scattered shopping carts. The air hung heavy with a sense of emptiness, devoid of the chaotic energy that had dominated the night. I stood among my fellow employees, a collective weariness etched upon our faces, knowing that the cycle of retail madness would repeat itself each Black Friday, marking another descent into the consuming darkness of consumer fervour. The end.
Thank you for listening today. Stay safe out there.
Join us
In the next video.
and don't get too spooked.